Now, the vehicle explosion that rocked Nashville in the United States is believed to be an intentional act as being described by the police. 3 people have been injured in the blast, but not with life-threatening injuries. Now, on your screens is the picture of the motorhome that later exploded in Nashville. This is from the Twitter page of the Metro Nashville Police Department. The explosion tore through a section of the city's downtown. The explosion was felt 9 blocks away and it destroyed several other vehicles and also damaged several buildings. At least about 20 buildings in downtown Nashville experienced some damage due to the explosion. Now, according to reports that have come in, several people have been transported to nearby hospitals from the scene, but none of them are in a critical condition. A motive for the explosion has not been disclosed by the police. An investigation, although, is presently underway.
As of right now, initial evidence does show that the early morning explosion was a deliberate bomb being set off in our community. And the blast caused injuries and catastrophic damage to this very historic part of Nashville. Now, 3 people have been hospitalized as a result of the explosion, are in a stable condition, and my prayers are with them and their loved ones.
According to reports, authorities have found human remains in the vicinity of the explosion. It is unclear as to how the remains are related to the explosion or whether they might belong to the person responsible for the attack or of a victim.
I don't want to speculate, but you would think that this person didn't want to harm people, that maybe just wanted to destroy, but we're not sure until we, get further into the investigation. We know of. So.
Just the tissues is what you believe, that you found human tissue in the remains is what you believe?
We believe. Could be, but to be for certain, we have to examine it. And once we know for sure, and then we'll let everyone know. But we're investigating.
The buildings shook in the immediate area and beyond after a loud boom was heard early on Christmas morning. The explosion sent shattered glass and debris over a wide area, rocking nearby buildings. Black smoke and flames were also seen billowing from the area. The explosion reportedly took place roughly at about 6:30 a.m. local time. The FBI is leading the investigation. Flights have been halted out of Nashville Airport due to telecommunication issues associated with the explosion. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what's actually happened in Nashville, we are joined in by Mr. Ray Locker. He's a journalist who's joining us live from South Carolina. Mr. Ray Locker, let me begin by asking you this. What exactly happened in Nashville? What do we know so far?
RV recreational vehicle blew up about 6:30 in the morning. When police went to the scene earlier, they noticed that there was some kind of tape-recorded message saying to evacuate the area. They immediately suspected there was a bomb possibly in that vehicle. They brought in the bomb squad. The bomb did go off about 6:30 in the morning, injuring 3 people. As you saw earlier, there were human remains found somewhere on the scene, but nobody knows where they came from. So there's a lot of mystery still surrounding what happened with that bomb, who planted it, whether there's one person or a number of people who were involved in that.
So at this point of time, do we know of anything about whether there was any person inside the RV at the time that this explosion took place?
We don't know that. That's all, speculation. As so many situations like this, whenever the Boston 13, so many rumors about what happened and who was hurt and who might have done it. Any kind of time there's an incident like this, there's a lot of speculation, and it takes a while to get everything together. And certainly on a major holiday like today, it takes even longer because you don't have a lot of people who are normally in place to do that work. But the FBI is very good at sorting out the details of physical evidence of this. And I imagine in the next day or two, we'll know a lot more about the people who they believe were involved and what happened.
All right. And lastly, just before we let you go, the police have not termed it as a terror attack, but they say that there is a possibility that there was a deliberate bomb that actually was set off in the RV vehicle. Motor vehicle always has its registration plate number. Have the police tracked down at this point of time as to who the owner of that RV is?
I have not seen that yet. Look, not only do they have a license plate, but they have a vehicle identification number on parts of the car, including the engine block. They can piece all that together, so they'll know where the vehicle came from, who owned it at any specific point in time, whether it was a rental vehicle, who rented it. Those are all things that investigators find out in cases like this.
And also for people who are watching this from outside the United States, how usual is it for people to be moving around in an RV? Because this is perhaps not a concept that people are aware of, let's say, in India. What is an RV and why would people want to stay in that?
Well, an RV, like some people would call it a caravan in Europe, it's basically a camper. It can be as big as a bus. It can be, like a small pickup truck with some kind of cap on the back. You drive it, you can sleep in it, you can go camping with it in various places, stay in campgrounds around this country. A lot of people have them. It's a way to travel where it's not as confining as being in a car or in a truck. And so people use them. They're fairly common. So would not have been out of place to see one driving through that part of Nashville, certainly when there aren't any people on the road. So a lot of people would see it and say, well, that's not unusual.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ray Locker, for joining us and getting us all those insights. This, of course, is a developing story and we'll await more details. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.